Hi everyone, it's Nia. Welcome back to my channel, Intentionally Nia. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I am here to talk to you about Saturn in Aquarius as a transit, as a placement. We've already talked about Saturn energy a lot, so I'll kind of just dust over that a little bit, but we'll really get into Saturn in Aquarius, Aquarius energy, what this transit is going to look like overall. And then if this is your Saturn return, what this energy, like what it's going to be playing out for you. You'll have to, do your little research to see how it will play out in your own chart, but at least you know what this energy looks like. So we're going to really get into it. I'll encourage you to hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you like, and let's get to it. Okay, so with Saturn in Aquarius, I think it's really important to look at Aquarius energy, like what that looks like versus coming from Capricorn. The first thing that I think about is Capricorn energy is very rigid. It's very status quo. It's traditional. It is, this. It's very buttoned up. Whereas when you get to Aquarius, you kind of get a little bit of a wild child, a little bit of the person's I'm not doing that just because all of y'all are doing it. I'm going to go the opposite way. Aquarians definitely have that type of energy. They don't follow the trend. They don't follow the crowd. Even though they have a lot of friends, they have a lot of respect for the crowd, they'll be in the crowd, but they don't follow the crowd. They will purposely set themselves apart. It's kind of and then another thing to look at that I think is very interesting and it helps me really understand Aquarius energy is thinking about its sister sign. So your sister sign is essentially the sign that is opposite of your sign. So for Aquarius, that would be Leo. For Gemini, that's Sagittarius, Taurus, Scorpio, Aries, Libra, Virgo, Pisces. That should be everybody. But Leo being Aquarius's opposite sign, Leo is the life of the party. Leo is out there. Everything is rising and setting on Leo's ass. They're ruled by the sun. And, the sun comes up, shines all up in your face on everything, does its job, and everything else revolves around the sun. The other planets revolve around the sun. We use the sun for so much. Firstly being, we need to know what the seasons are. So Aquarius energy being the opposite of that is kind of I'm going to go against whatever is calling all of that attention. Everyone is paying attention to a certain way of thinking, a certain way of living, a certain way of being, Aquarius is I'm gonna go that way. I'm not gonna mess with that over there. Y'all can do that. That's cool. And I will be in this collective with you all. They're not necessarily going to set themselves apart by being away, by isolating themselves necessarily, but they will set themselves apart and be in the collective, be in the collective, just being different. Another really interesting analogy that I once heard, I can't think of when I heard it before, that really helps me understand. I want to say Saturn so bad. That helps me understand Leo versus Aquarius energy. So Leo is the king, Aquarius is the president. Think about it. That's so good, right? Leo is the king, Aquarius is the president. Think about being the king. That means you are ruling over the collective. There's already a certain amount of things and decisions that are going to be made based off of tradition, based off of how things already are. You end up becoming king because of who your father is or because of who your family is. It's things that are just already happening the way that they are, and they get set up, and that's what it is. And then your job is to rule you're not trying to understand what people want. You're not being like, it's all about how I'm going to rule the way that it was done before me, right? I'm going to sit up on this throne of mine and I will call the shots based off of the rules and regulations and the way things have been. The president is someone who makes decisions for the collective, but they don't have, I'm not going to say they have the ears on the ground because they're the president, but it's still someone who's very much in power, but they have a lot of people around them. They have a lot of people in their ear. They have a lot of people telling them, oh, it should go this way. It should go that way. Maybe try this way. Maybe try that way. These people want this, that. This group needs that. You know, are we addressing this? Are we addressing that? And they have to take all of that information into account and come forth with precise and decisions that are going to be decisions that make sense for the collective, that make sense for multiple people. They have to really understand the needs of everyone. And also they have to, or they should be, ideally flexible and open to change, understanding that, you know, by listening to the people, listening to their whoever's appointed to help them, whatever, they learn, okay, maybe this isn't working. So let's try it this way, or let's try it that way. Or they get into office and they say, oh, the president before me did it this way. That didn't seem to work based off of all the information research that I'm getting. I'm gonna try it this way because I think that'll better serve the collective. So that's kind of the difference. Whereas like the king is like, I don't give a damn about what is serving y'all. And that's just what it is. You know, it's a completely different type of feel. And I think that that really helps to kind of understand that. Like understand Aquarius versus Leo. Aquarius energy is, you automatically think, you just think rebellion, you think innovative, you think independent, of course, aloof. They are not the most emotional people. They're very logical. Aquarians are, at least the ones I've come across, a lot of the time, like Aquarians are like borderline genius. They really can be. The amount of like intellect mixed with innovation, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful combination. And they're very much in tune to the collective, but they don't let the collective shape them. And so that creates this, because they're very in tune with the collective, they understand, you know, what's going on and what everyone needs, but they still make that decision to like go against the grain. It just creates this beautiful space for thinking outside the box and for coming up with new ways to do things. And it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous energy. I love it. With Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn again is about restriction. It's about discipline. It's about being reserved. It's about being cautious. And on, you know, a collective scale, it's like the status quo. It's basically different establishments that kind of govern, you know? So you automatically, like, you think of government when you think of Saturn. It's the easiest thing, at least for me. Things that just have been in place for a long time and that have a huge impact on us. With Saturn in Aquarius, it shows like after you go through the restriction, you go through the status quo, you see all of that and you understand the workings of it. It's only after that can you really rebel. You need to kind of know what you're working with. Like you need to know what is actually going on or know the ins and outs of whatever it is before you can make the decision to rebel against something, right? So Aquarius comes into account and Aquarius is able to look around and say, hey, I see the way y'all been doing it. I don't like that. That's not working for me. So I'm gonna switch it up and I'm going to take a little bit of what you're doing and I'm going to say, hey, I see you've been doing it that way. That's not working. I think we need to try and tweak it a little bit here, tweak it a little bit there. Aquarius will make themselves stand out, not necessarily because they're trying to, but just off of the fact that they see things differently and they stick with whatever conclusions and things that they come to. So much so that they can make themselves seem like they're a know-it-all. They can make themselves, can come across like judgmental better than other people, because they really pride themselves. I mean, pride is just on that whole axis between Leo and Aquarius. Pride it's there. You know, Aquarians are prideful about their intellect. Leos are just prideful about who they are. You know, so it's like Aquarius is prideful about their intellect, about standing out, about their innovations. Leo is prideful about who they are, how they shine, their creativity. So pride it always comes up in that, and you'll see pride within Aquarian energy, and they do have the tendency to, like I said, be a little bit judgmental because they think that the way that they're doing it is the best way to do it. Everyone else is like not getting it. Oh, y'all on some real silly stuff. Like that is just, that, who cares? You know, it's that same thing. But in a way, we need Aquarius energy because it teaches us how to rebel, how to not just take things, like how not to just take things because that's how it's always been or that's what's being fed to us, but to really take information, understand it, and then flip it into whatever works for us. With the theme of detachment that comes up with both Saturn and Aquarius, it's really interesting because remember how in the last episode with Saturn and spirituality, we talked about how Saturn teaches us spiritual lessons through detachment. You know, you learn that that lesson is represented by Saturn by you denying yourself of something right now so that you can enjoy it later. You are strengthening that muscle, like you're growing spiritually. You're teaching yourself how not to lean on your flesh, how not to lean on your senses. And Aquarius has, you know, that detachment theme as well. Aquarians kind of detach on the emotional front. They heavily rely on their intellect, on their mind. And so they'll detach from anything that is emotional because, I mean, from what I've seen, a lot of times they think it's weak. They think it's just weak to be emotional. It's weak to be ruled by your emotions. But it's also really interesting because a lot of them just feel like it's not the right thing to do, you know? So it's that Saturn energy again, where it's like you want to do what's right. You want to do what makes sense and like what's been done before. And they just shy away from showing that emotion because, one, I also think that they think that it detaches. There can be a thing of feeling like it kind of like distracts from their overall message as well, but they are very prideful and they find pride in their mind and their intellect, the way they think through things. That's a very Aquarius thing. So with Saturn in Aquarius, I think that we are going to, with this transit, we're gonna see a lot of detachment in terms of authority, status, tradition, and we're gonna be moving more towards rebellion, innovative ways of living, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. We're already kind of starting to see that like we're in this this moment of isolation right now. Very Saturn in Aquarius. It's like moving away from the status quo, moving away from your 9 to 5, moving away from your normal routine so that you can come home and have time where you're not really interacting with anyone but you know? And yeah, we still have social media, so you can still kind of see what other people are doing and everything, but this is really an opportunity for you to figure out your unique way of being, your unique way of living, what makes you, you know? And I think that is what and it's also a time of reflection, so we can see how we can do all this better. Another thing is, I think it's just gonna bring like innovation in a lot of different areas. We're gonna see innovation in technology. Things are definitely gonna step it up with Saturn in Aquarius. Aquarius has a lot to do with technology. It deals a lot with that. So we'll see some innovation there. And I think we're going to make our mark with this transit within that realm. In a way, Saturn in Aquarius can feel like antagonistic energy, just in the sense that we are shaking things up. You know, we're calling bullshit on the traditional way that our parents and their parents have been living their lives, and we're saying, hey, we can still be successful and do it this way, do it our way, come up with new innovations that are going to be really better suited for the life and the way things are going within the world. And it's kind of like by us doing it this way and also being fixed, because let's also talk about the fact that Aquarius is a fixed sign, as well as Leo. And so all that means is like you're literally planted and rooted in your way of thinking, in your way of being. There's not much moving. Like you're not going to move. You're not backing down off of that. And Aquarius is very fixed in their own ways of thinking, their own ways of being. Like they are just planted in that, and there's not much you can say to get them to change. They don't see it any other way. And a lot of it has to do with the fact of even wanting, they're like fixed and rooted in wanting to be against the grain, like wanting to go against the grain, wanting to be different, wanting to be innovative, not wanting to do what everybody else is already doing. So we are going to definitely, with Saturn and Aquarius, see that energy coming through. Like, hey, y'all been doing it that way before. It's not working. And now we're putting our foot down and we're changing things. We're moving forward in a different direction that's more, unique and true to what we feel is needed right now. And I think we're gonna be known and remembered for how fixed we were about being different, how we're like, we purposely are pushing the envelope. We purposely are challenging all of those things that have been a status quo, have been traditional. We're purposely changing the way we make money, the way we think about society as a whole, changing healthcare. All of those things are going to be really, really revamped. And with Saturn and Aquarius, especially people born under this energy, they're going into it like, look, I've been watching y'all and this isn't working. And so they're going to be very adamant about doing it their way, changing it and doing it their way. It's really interesting to think about, because it's kind of like Saturn is also a very like fixed and rigid energy in a way. Well, not so much. So if you have Saturn in Aquarius in your birth chart, you're about to go through your Saturn return, I would look at that placement and where it is in your chart and think about how you're going to be innovative, how you're going to go against the grain, how you're going to be rebellious, what innovations, what inventions, what innovations, what inventions can you come up with? What can you, like, what in that area can you add your own twist to it, your own spin to it? And then if you don't have Saturn in Aquarius, if you weren't born while that was transiting, then I would say look for where Aquarius is in your birth chart and know that Saturn is going to be there, which means Saturn is going to be bringing some stability, some restriction in a way, kind of creating new routines, new traditions for you. Saturn is going to come in and really apply some pressure in whatever that area is. And so, but apply pressure in a way that will push you to find your own voice, to find your uniqueness, to find how you can innovate that particular area. You know what I mean? So let's say you have Saturn in Aquarius in the 7th house. Like you were born with Saturn in Aquarius and it lands in your 7th house. That tells me that your relationships are gonna be innovative. You're gonna be coming up with a new way to engage in relationships with people. And you're gonna have to take authority over that new way of engaging in relationship with people. You're going to really need to make that your own, you know, and also start questioning the ways in which you've been dealing with relationships in the past and how much of that is just like, giving into the status quo. How much of that is you just conforming? Where's your unique voice in all of that? And then also with it being in the 7th house and Saturn being, or Aquarius being a sign that is about the collective, that's about working with other people, learning from other people, it's also going to be kind of cool, but it's just going to be with the 7th house. The 7th house is more of a personal house. It's about one-on-one type of relationships, kind of, versus the collective, which is the 11th house. So you will probably start to see how your friends will affect your personal relationships in a way, given that Aquarius energy deals with like your friends and stuff. You can start to see that. So just kind of look at where Aquarius energy is, where Saturn, and you know, where Aquarius energy is if you don't have Saturn in Aquarius, and look at, if you do have Saturn in Aquarius, look at that house and figure out how you're going to start innovating. I hope all of this made sense. I hope I gave you some new ways to think about Saturn in Aquarius, this transit that is happening right now. Aside from it being my Saturn return, I did want to look at it from just like a general point of view and give you guys some ideas of what this means and what it looks like. I will definitely be back very soon with more content. Comment down below what you think, like what new innovations you think are going to come out of this transit, like what you think where you see the rebellion coming, where you see more inventions coming, what you think is about to be shaken up, because that's what's really about to happen. Shaken up and changed kind of for the better, and what you think this generation will stand out for, because that's what Saturn and Aquarius generation is doing. Like, this is like, okay, we're making our mark and we're gonna change the way y'all been doing stuff around here. And because we're so fixed and so passionate and so, you know, just pushing forward, y'all either are gonna conform or you're gonna get left out, you know? So where do you think that's gonna happen in our society, in our world as a large? Comment down below, let me know about that. I'll definitely slide in the comments, you know, respond to you guys. I'd love to hear I'm so excited about this. I hope everyone is well. I hope everybody is taking care of themselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.